Hey guys, welcome to Challenges Education. In our current affairs section, we have started daily news analysis of All India Radio from newsonair.com. I hope this will help accelerating your preparation for government exams. Here the show begins.
Now we bring you a discussion on assembly elections and further developments. The participants are Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and K.V. Prasad, journalist.
Assembly elections for Telangana and Rajasthan are just 4 days away. In fact, in 48 hours from now, the campaigning will come to end. And as we see today, there was a hectic campaign unleashed by all major political parties with high-profile candidates and equally high-profile campaigners going out to woo the voters with a set of promises and what the governments of the day and government of the Rajasthan and Telangana could do. Shekhar, if you look at both these elections, they are again very crucial because one is in Hindi heartland in part of it, and second, of course, across the Vindhyas. The Bharatiya Janata Party is obviously looking at trying to open in the assembly in Telangana. Rajasthan, of course, it is defending the citadel. If you look at the broad thrust of campaign that was going on for the last few days, and now it's really reached a high-octane level, could you give us your initial impressions as to how it's going?
You are right, Mr. Prasad. I think these elections are being seen as some kind of runners-up or a trial bout ahead of the parliamentary elections. So we are seeing Rahul Gandhi trying to put more force into the Congress structure and organization and make an attempt to win some of these assembly elections. We already saw such an hectic campaign in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Now it is on in Rajasthan and Telangana. And Rahul Gandhi's campaign has been focusing on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, even as he has been attacking the Chief Minister K.C. Rao of Telangana. And similarly in Rajasthan, we have seen Congress focusing attention both on Prime Minister Modi and Vasundhara Raje Scindia. And both the CMs are defending their track record and both are doing an aggressive campaign on what their government did in the last 5 years. So we are seeing a very, very hectic, aggressive campaign. And interestingly, the way the name of the Prime Minister and as well as the Chief Ministers are figuring, today we have seen the BJP President Amit Shah saying that Prime Minister's name has been taken by Rahul Gandhi more than we take Prime Minister's name. In the sense, saying that the whole focus is more and more on Prime Minister, though these elections concern the states and it is going to be a kind of a referendum on the government that served for the last 5 years.
Shekhar, what you said is also very appropriate. The fact, a very interesting observation that the BJP says the Prime Minister's name has been taken more than itself. The fact remains for the Congress, if you look at it, probably it's trying to get its political campaign going by attacking the most charismatic leader the BJP has. Prime Minister, as a principal campaigner, has turned the tables in the last minute, whether it was the previous elections you saw even in Gujarat or even in other parts, UP in particular, everybody talks about how the entry of Prime Minister, and similarly, the Bharatiya Janata Party certainly hopes to have similar kind of a turnaround when it works it. But if you look at the broad thing, if you go across and look into Rajasthan in particular, Vasundhara Raje's track record of her government as known to the people of Rajasthan. There has been a peculiarity in the state of Rajasthan that it has not returned an incumbent government in the last 25 odd years that if you look at it, so it is cyclical in nature. But having said that, it's not necessary that governments cannot be repeated. We have seen that it happened in Punjab where we had a similar trend of incumbent government being shown the door and a new government coming in. But the last elections before the Akali Dal managed to retain it. So there are other trends that keep changing. But if you look at this political mosaic that offers in Rajasthan, there are a lot of competing interests. We see farmers' distress being talked about. We see the issues of land, issues of reservation. All these have got mixed up. So governance, of course, comes in, but sometimes you see it takes a back seat.
Election time, a number of issues come up. Of course, Vasundhara has been saying that she is fully focused on the development of Rajasthan in the last 5 years. And she says there are evident indications that the state has seen a number of positive changes under her tenure. But the Congress is, of course, picking at holes where it says there is a gap, where it says farmers have been neglected, where it says some sections have not been fully benefited. So the Congress campaign is, of course, in the hope that within the Vasundhara's own party there are a lot of issues and problems. So Congress is hoping that the BJP will not fully back her, particularly the rank and file. But countering that, we have seen Amit Shah has been working very hard there. particularly in organizationally BJP has put in number of page pramukhs or people who work from the booth level. So the kind of organizational power that the BJP wants to use in Rajasthan is to somehow beat that anti-incumbency, as it is being called. And of course BJP has also changed a number of its candidates. A number of ministers were dropped also. So it's a very intense battle in Rajasthan, and Congress feels that this is the best opportunity for them in Rajasthan, where they feel that at a time when there are problems within the BJP, and not that the Congress doesn't have its problem of its own, it feels that there is a mood for change. And a lot of his anger is more focused on Vasundhara rather than on Prime Minister in Rajasthan. So their hope is that they can highlight some local issues and do it.
What you said also brings me to this thing where the BJP President Amit Shah, when campaigning, talked about how the BJP under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and of course he did not mention, but he is being the president, that for almost 19 states he is counted one after another. So saying that their strike rate is so high that ever since 2014 the Bharatiya Janata Party has managed to oust the Congress or Congress allies or parties which are not opposed to BJP out of power in various states, and he goes on one after the other. On one hand, we also mentioned the fact there is some element of anti-incumbency which is bound to come in. The BJP changed a number of them, but the problem is their rebels. But that may not be confined only to the BJP, but BJP and Congress together face this major crisis where I am told at least 6 former ministers or prominent legislatures are contesting against the official candidates. So this is a issue that both parties will be a little concerned.
Yeah, this is an issue they have to grapple, because whenever you have to beat the anti-incumbency, whether you are in opposition or in the ruling, because in the case of ruling it applies to the ministers and individual MLAs. When you are in the opposition, you need to bring in more fresh blood, so that your faces are more fresh to the voter and they build up on the confidence. And we have seen Rahul Gandhi wanting to bring more younger faces to the fore. I think interestingly, in both the places, you see in Rajasthan as well as Telangana, it's a very different scene compared to say Karnataka. In Karnataka, you had a third factor, that is in the shape of Janata Dal Secular. They fought against each other, but finally, in the grand design of keeping BJP out of power, they both came together and formed the government in Karnataka. Here in Telangana, we are seeing Congress has got into some kind of a Maha Kutumbi with TDP, which is not a big factor, and then has taken it to its fold a Telangana Samiti, and you have the CPI. Whereas in Rajasthan, it's a straight fight between Congress and BJP. It's a very direct picture there. So therefore, finally, Congress or the BJP manage the numbers on their own in Rajasthan. And in the case of Telangana, elections are being held actually 7 to 8 months in advance. They were due only along with parliamentary elections. That has been a big gamble of K. Chandrasekhar Rao. So he has also, attempted to put in a number of new faces to avoid this anti-incumbency. And he is campaigning on 2 issues. One is on the emotional appeal of his own party's contribution to the creation of Telangana. And secondly, also in what he has done for the farmers. And he is promising more. He has promised to waive off 1 lakh farmers loan. Whereas BJP, which is again contesting against both Congress and TRS and Congress, both these parties have promised 2 lakh waiver in terms farmers' debt. So there are a number of issues where we find all the parties involved are trying to put their best foot forward.
Just before I switch over to Telangana, one last issue that I wanted you to look at Rajasthan is the Congress has this issue of who will be the CM. We all heard whether it is Ashok Gehlot or the young Rajesh Pilot's son, Sachin Pilot, who has delivered in the last assembly Lok Sabha by-polls. So do you think that is a factor that will affect the Congress, or as of now they are peppered over it and they're together in this fight?
See, not just Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot. In fact, number of senior leaders have been, fielded, who are also sometimes seen as potential candidates or aspirants. You have C.P. Joshi, you have Girija Vyas, she's a very senior leader. So it's a very interesting scene, but Congress at the moment is ducking that question as to who will be the CM candidate. Ashok Gehlot is seen as the most favourite because in terms of his old contacts and his stature. And Sachin Pilot is a young face. So there could be internal tensions in terms of who could be finally chosen if Congress gets the numbers.
Something like they had in Madhya Pradesh.
As far as BJP is concerned, they are going to the polls with Vasundhara. The people will have to endorse Vasundhara's previous record, just completed record, and then give her a fresh mandate. So in the BJP side, it is Vasundhara. But here, I think the question is open.
When we move on to Telangana, I think the Congress and the Mahakutumi faces a similar dilemma. In the sense, they don't have a clear face. In fact, the leading face, of course, is the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who is seen as the man who got Telangana as a reality. But there are reports which have come out in media over the last few days which show that while Telangana Rashtra Committee Chair President Mr. Rao has toured almost 80 constituencies and he has done it several times, the advantage that he thought he will have by announcing quick elections and hold the opposition in surprise is now lost. That momentum which would have accrued to him went away with this grand alliance of various parties. Of course, the All India Muslim League is MIM is with Mr. TRS. The BJP, you mentioned, is trying to open an account in a serious way. But in this three-way fight, largely again, this Kutami has changed the dynamics of the state politics.
Well, it has changed the dynamics to the extent it has energized the Congress cadres. Because Congress cadres, as you mentioned, has been without a face. Because Congress, in the last 4 or 5 years, we didn't see much of action on the ground. In fact, in a number of by-elections and even the civic elections, TRS managed to do well. But just before, the KCR announced elections, Rahul has gone for a double-barrel leadership. You have the PCC chief, and there is the second person, working president. So both are seen as a kind of face there. But there, I think more than leadership, the Congress strategy happens to be somehow prevent division of the anti-TRS vote and see that somehow manage it. Now, TDP, of course, is not a big factor in Telangana, but Chandrababu Naidu has been campaigning along with Rahul Gandhi, which is a very, very important development in terms of opposition unity. And he has been campaigning particularly in and around Hyderabad, which were considered once TDP's strong areas. Of course, the role of Majlis is also very interesting because the OSC-led Majlis is attacking the Congress and trying to ensure that the minority votes stay with TRS, because he himself is contesting only 7 assembly seats which fall around that region. But in the erstwhile Nizamuddin ruled areas, whether it is Nizamabad, Adilabad, Khammam, all those places, the Majlis's objective is to ensure that the votes stay with TRS and do not go to the Congress.
When you mentioned about this very interesting combination, if you look at the kind of campaign that was quite shrill, in fact, the BJP has been trying to say that the Congress, in fact, Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of UP, who went and made some very comments, which of course was counterattacked by the Majlis President OSC. I think that is election time, the kind of heat that has generated, especially over the minority factor that you just mentioned. Very interesting small development was the granddaughter of N.T. Ramarao was fielded in one of the Hyderabad area, Kukatpalli seat, and she is taking on a person who was a former TDP man, a legislator who joined over TRS. So, and Chandrababu Naidu has gone personally to campaign in that area. And as you said, some of the seats in Greater Hyderabad area and Hyderabad city area itself, the TDP has considerable votes also because as people who are from Andhra who had settled in Hyderabad.
But at the same time, the USP of TDP, I do not see beyond, preventing the division of anti-TRS votes, because TDP doesn't have much stake here. Chandrababu Naidu was not a great proponent of creation of Telangana. In fact, he opposed it. And of course, now he has said they have to live with the reality of the bifurcation. And Congress had played a big role in the bifurcation. So therefore, I think it will be interesting to see, preventing the division of votes, how much is TDP able to help Congress challenging the TRS.
If you look at it, this whole 5 state elections, if you say Mizoram, where it was different kind of a dynamics because of the Mizo National Front and the Congress-led government, and of course the BJP also went there. But it was a different, but in all other 4 states and 3 states of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, it is essentially a fight between BJP and Congress, largely bipolar. Of course, BSP is a factor which nobody can know which way it will go in these 3 states.
It's a very straight off. If Congress has got in TDP or CPI or other parties, it's essentially to prevent the division of what could have been the opposition vote. And in Rajasthan, it's a straight fight. Of course, BSP decided to plough its own furrow in Madhya Pradesh. Similarly, in Rajasthan, it has gone its own. But ultimately, I think post-election scenario, the question of numbers come, and we would have to see how party like BSP would behave if it is in a position add up to those numbers. So that's a very interesting scenario. But essentially, it is a Congress attempt to show that it cannot be written off and it's on a comeback train. On the other hand, the BJP wishes to show that under the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a lot of things happened in the last 4 years, and these governments, particularly in Rajasthan, these are the governments that have carried forward those changes that were brought in for the welfare and development of people.
In the end, I would request you all to please subscribe to our channel if not done yet, so that you can get an instant notification for the videos we upload. God bless you all.